Hey gang, so this is just a short pre-test video. I just want to be sure you're ready for your test tomorrow or tonight or today, whichever day you happen to be watching it. Okay, so you can just watch. You don't really have to work it. Just follow along. First off, anything to the zero power. When I have 3 to the 0 power, what does it equal? Anything to the 0 power is 1. It is not 0. Put it in your calculator and you'll see 3 to the 0 power is 1. I can take all of this junk inside here, and the minute I raise it all to the 0 power, that makes it 1. So keeping that in mind, I want to work this one. You look at it and you're like, oh, negative xy to the 1/2, that's messy. But look, it's all to the 0 power. That means that everything inside these parentheses right here is to the 0 power. So I can actually mark this off because that is just 1. 1 times anything is just that number. So here's what I've got. 3x squared y over 15x to the 10th. 3 over 15 is 1/5. If I were to alpha y equal that on my calculator. 2 x's on top and 10 on bottom give me 8. Remember, you subtract. And this is the only y I have, so here's my answer. Anything to the 0 power is just 1. Keep that in mind. All right, the other one I wanted to go back over with you is this. When you have the same base, what do I do when I look at something like this? Well, remember, if I have x squared times x to the 3rd, that equals x to the 5th power. You add the exponents up. 2 plus 3 is 5. So I need to take x plus 4 plus 10, and what does it need to add up to? 20. X plus 4 plus 10 equals 20. X plus 14 equals 20. X plus, or what plus 14 equals 20? Well, it would be 6. So x equals 6. 6 plus 14 is 20. Just kind of a reminder there on that one. All right, this is the one as Caleb and I were studying tonight. I saw that and I thought, you know, I want to be sure I just review you guys on this. We've done a couple of them, but we haven't done a lot of them. So I just want to touch base. First off, when you get one like this, you might be thinking, oh, what's under the radical stays. Yes, only this is to the power or the root of 6, the 6th root. This one over here has a 2. Remember, if it's not there, it's understood. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to rewrite these. We are going to take 8a to the 3rd because that's underneath the radical. And remember, we talked about the root staying on the bottom. This is the square root. This is the exponent. The root goes on the bottom. The exponent goes on the top. Okay? Times. This one over here is still 8a to the 3rd as well. But what's the fraction on this one? The root goes on the bottom. The exponent goes on the top. Okay, well, I could use my calculator because when you have the same base, let's just review that one more time. When you have x squared times x to the 3rd, and I'm multiplying right here, what do I do with my exponents? I add them. This is the same situation. The difference is up here I just had x's. Down here I've got something in a parenthesis, but it's exactly the same. So in my calculator I would do 5 over 2 plus 3 over 6. And my calculator would tell me what? Well, 3 over 6 is the same thing as 1/2. So that would be 6 over 2, which would be 3. So my calculator would tell me 3. How did I do that again? I'm going to come down here and do it right here. 5 over 2 plus 1 over 2 is 6 over 2, which is 3. Now your calculator will do that for you. So what I have is this base But instead of all this fraction stuff up here, I'm going to mark it off all messy. I know it's just 3. So I would have to do 8 times 8 times 8. I actually don't know that off the top of my head. 64 times, 8 times 8 is 64. Times 8 is 2, carry 3, 48, 49, 50, 50, 512. Okay, it's a big number. 512. 3 times 3 would be a to the 9th. Okay, I want to do another one. I'll make it easier for me so I don't have to multiply big numbers. Oh, let me go here. All right, so let me do, I'll go back to that other one. I'm going to do it in a second. Let me do 2x to the 4th, and let's take it to the 5th power times, and let's do another 6. 6 times 2x to the 4th cubed. Okay, so first off, I need to go, okay, they're not the same root. One's the square root, one's the 6th root. So I'm going to need to take it and get it to a fraction times the fractional exponent. All right, the root goes on the bottom. The root here is 2, so the 2 goes on the bottom, the 5 goes on the top. The root is 6, 6 goes on the bottom, 3 goes on the top. 3 over 6, I'm going to reduce that. 3 over 6 is the same thing as 1/2. 5 halves plus 1/2 is 6 halves, which is 3. I'm going to write over here. 5 halves plus 1/2 is the same thing as 3, if I did that in my calculator. So 2x to the 4th would be raised to the 3rd power. Well, Bossy 3 tells the 2, multiply yourself 2 times 2 times 2. That's 8. 4 times 3 are going to multiply and give me x to the 12th. There we go. Watch it again if you need to. Okay, another one you're going to have is one with volume. Volume is length times height times width. What if I gave you the volume, the length, the height, and I said, what's the width? Okay, so I'm giving you the V, I'm giving you the L, I'm giving you the H, but I'm not giving you the W. You're going to have to figure that out. So volume, we're going to set up an equation. 160 x squared y to the 10th z to the 18th equals. Now I need to do the length times the width. Okay, let's see if I can move that a little bit. Trying to make it so I can make everything fit. All right, so the length is 2xyz. I'm going to put it in parentheses. The height is 4x squared y squared z squared. And the w I don't know, so I'm just going to put a w. Actually, let me do this. Let me put it in red, purple. W. So it's kind of different, kind of stands out. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line, and I need to solve this equation. So 160 x squared y to the 10th z to the 18th. Let's multiply these two together. 2 times 4 is 8. How many x's are up here? 2 and 1, so that'll be 3 x's. How many y's? Yep, 3 y's. How many z's? Oh, wow, 3 z's. And then we've still got this times w. Well, in order to get rid of this, the inverse of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide each side by the same thing in order to get rid of that 8x cubed, y cubed, z cubed. Now when you do that, they will cross out. And all I have left over here is w. That's what I want. Over here, let's finish it up though. Oh, you know, I may not need that. 160 divided by 8 will be 20. And I'm going to mark them off as I use them. 2 x's on top and 3 on bottom is going to leave me 1 x on the bottom. I'm going to mark them off. 10 y's and 3 y's will leave me with 7 y's. I'm going to mark them off. 18 z's and 3 z's are going to leave me with 15 z's. So this is what my w equals. Go back and watch that one if you need to. All right, we already did most of these other ones. I don't think there was any other one. I was kind of looking at your test at the same time I was kind of doing this. Anything to the 0 power is 0. I know what it was I want to show you. I want to do one more with the sequence. Remember we talked about this. If you have f of n equals 4 times f of n minus 1, and then I tell you f of 1 equals, we'll say negative 3. So if I was going to write out that sequence, let me just do the first couple of terms. The first term would be negative 3. The 4 here tells me multiply to get the next one. So negative 3 times 4 would be negative 12. I'd multiply this times 4 and get negative 48, and so on. Remember on this test, and I kind of mentioned it to you guys before, I'm going to change the way I write it. I'm going to say a sub n equals 4, and this is going to be the exact same thing, a sub n minus 1. That means the same thing as this first one, just written with a's instead of f's. The other thing is, remember a sub 1 stands for the first term, which in my situation here was negative 3. If I were going to write out the first few terms, it would be exactly the same. The first term is negative 3. In order to get the next term, you multiply by 4. So that would be negative 12 times 4 would be negative 48. Now, taking this same situation right here, let me do this. Let me see if I can make that a little bigger. Okay, I'm going to erase this one. Okay, and I'm going to do one more thing. Let's see if it'll let me. Yeah, it's probably not going to let me. No, it's not. Okay, I'll just move it down here. It's giving me some issues. Okay, so I'm going to take everything I did down there, and what I want to do is I want to create a table. You're like, what? Remember we talked about this is the first term, the second term, the third term. So that means 1 is negative 3. And we did the application problems that were like this with the car, and it had the money. The third term is negative 48. So just remember, when I give you a sequence, you can write a table, right? Yeah, you could figure it out. If I gave you a sequence and I said a sub n equals 6, no, I don't want to do something that big. Let's do 2 times, and we'll do 3 to the n minus 1 power. Could you write that as a table? You bet. So you would write it out. Sequences always start with 1, 2, 3, 4. You could write that out. You would plug in 1, so 1 times, or 1 minus 1 is 0, 2, that would just be 2. And it looks like we're just multiplying by 2, right? So we'll put a 2 here, 2, I'm just trying to do it in my head real quick. So you get it. But anyway, you could write out what these all equal just by putting this into your calculator and filling out your table. Okay, easy way to do it. I just want to remind you that they start at 1, and then 2, 3, and 4. All right, I am at 13 minutes. I don't think there was anything else. Yeah, you know, just a quick reminder, and I know you guys know this. When you do the square root of, say, 2 square roots of, I'll do 24. Remember, if I'm going to do that, I do the birthday cake. Divide by 2, so that's 12. Divide by 2, so that's 6. Divide by 2, so that's 3. Divide by 3, there's my candle. 2 square roots of 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 1. I circle my doubles and bring it out. Right here, I just want to remind you that this 2 is here. And when you bring this 2 out, it multiplies times this one. You don't add it. You're always multiplying. Under here, I have 2 times 3 times 1, which is 6. 2 times 2 is 4 square roots of 6. Okay? When you have this on the outside, you are multiplying when you bring this out to the front. All right, guys. Good luck. Wished I could be there to help y'all. Have a great day.